and here's another question. So, and that has nothing to do with being equally yoked. Like, I think this is going over people's head a little bit. I think that
Well, this is exactly what we were talking about, being equally yoked.
You said, then why she make him look bad and sad? I don't get it.
Equally yoked is also mentality. In level of understanding, because even at school, we work in education that I used to work in elementary education as well, and that sometimes when you have younger kids who don't know how to have the words to really say how they feel or mean, it's very difficult for them to communicate, and they act out. I see a lot of this that happens in these
humans,
or when we're talking
there's no change in definition. Like, this is what so Michelle. So we're missing an important component in this situation with Michelle. We don't know her conversation she had with her husband. We don't know their relationship. Barack could be 100% like, you supported me, I got you 100%. I fail to believe that Michelle is not talking to Barack about the moves that she's making. I just fail to believe that, right? And I just don't. People support each other. I supported your dream. You probably support mine. Like, that's just how people, and that's probably how they move. And if that works for them, that works for them. That's not what we mean about equally yoked. They clearly are of the same, like they work perfectly together. I don't even see anything.
Can I flip this because this has been on my mind. I wanted to ask Will, but he wasn't up here because it was the whole how AP was saying that they were using an example about going on a date. 10 women give you the same feedback.
Oh, please don't go back.
No, because this also
oh my God
has something to do with kind of what you're saying as well. In terms of being, equally yoked or being of the same mindset, is that I think what happens a lot of times and in these situations, especially like in this atmosphere, is that you do have to look at where the feedback is coming from. He said, oh, well, if I'm just going on one date, then yeah, I'm not taking that feedback, right? But if I'm dating this person, then I'm going to take the feedback, right? I understand that concept. However, if there's a pattern in when you're just on a date, to me, that makes sense that I might need to take it just because you are not serious about them.
Yeah.
I think he's thinking on the level like, well, I'm not serious about them, so I don't have to take their feedback. Versus I've just been on 10 consecutive dates and got similar feedback about the same thing, and none of these women know each other.
Like, I didn't even make it to a second date. Like, I gotta at least make it to the second date. Something gotta be wrong with me, Joe.
None of these women know each other, but yet I got the same exact
not from the same environment, completely different
environment. Instead of saying what AP said, you know what, I might need to self-reflect.
Yeah.
His response was, don't change. I'm not going to change, or you shouldn't change because it's not you. Date 40 more, 50 more women to see if you're going to get a different answer.
To me, it sounds like the high value man lifestyle. Like, no, I don't need to change anything. I'm going to just find the right person.
But but you want to know how we got him today? We got him because when they brought up.
But my point is if then go into the double standard thing. Because if women moved like that, and said, well, it's not me, because this is what they're saying in this space. You have all of these men that are telling y'all need to change your attitude. Y'all need to do this. Y'all need to do that. All of these men that we're not dating, right, don't know us, that are saying this is what Black women need to do. And then get upset and say the very thing that he just said that AP should do. Don't change yourself. You need to just go ahead and find 50 other people, and you only need one to be able to do what your attitude.
I already admitted that was unrealistic too.
The chat real fast. You guys can finish talking about that, but I have two more things I want to address from the chat.
Go ahead.
So one of the questions was, Judge, I like your comments, so don't think I'm picking on you or anything. I just like them. But so when it says to greet women, I don't think that that's true. I think that
I don't
degree
either.
women will date blue collar guys, but it's not going to look like the handyman. It's not going to look like the guy who works under the plumber, who calls himself a plumber, but he's not a master plumber, right? I think that women want master. They both the boss, right? They want the guy who put the work in. So while I do believe that they'll date handyman, I'm not saying this is all, I think that that's a false narrative that people don't like to date blue collar workers, right? I think that when you are the best at what you do, that's attractive. So if you are a plumber, we want you to be the master plumber. We want you to be ready to own your own business and be doing it big because you have business sense. You know how to run your company, you are running things. The same thing with the electrician. We want you to be the master electrician, the business, the person that people have to report to. You got the people out in the field. Does that make sense? I think that's how that's a tricky, you know what I'm saying? I think that that's a false narrative. I don't think that people don't
I
like
hate,
I agree with the fact, but to a degree, I also think that a degree woman would marry a blue collar worker, even if he is not the master electrician. It is about what else does he offer? Is he fulfilling other areas in my life? So even though he may not have the college degree or this and that, I can use my college degree to help build him up. If it's especially in the area, like if I had a business degree and he is a plumber, and like you said, is about the willingness. Is he willing to allow me to help him? And is that the direction that he wants to go? But like
the direction he wants to go.
I told y'all earlier, just in the research that I read, in terms of Black women in general, the stereotype that, all these Black women want the top 1% of men, of course everybody would want the best. Yeah. But realistically speaking, and based on the stats, out of all races, Black women will date down the most.
That's not dating down. So let's stop saying dating down.
To the language that they were using in the study.
Yeah. So let's get out of the conversation of dating down. We're just talking about preferences, right? Because I don't want people to think that you feel like you're dating down, they're below you, nothing like that. I'm just telling you what some people find to be attractive.
What
preference, and it's not everybody's preference; it's some people's preference. But to say that women don't want to date blue collar workers, that's not true. Because I see blue collar workers with women every day. They date people every day.
But what I don't get is, why is it that we have to push our woman or like make them feel bad for not wanting that and expecting more of our men? Like, what's wrong with our women? I was saying
that 2 hours ago.
Like, because this is what I'm thinking. Like, listen, just hear me out real quick. When I hear a lot of men saying, stop educating yourselves and just
we talked about
be low enough. Yeah. So it's like that's the backwards part that I'm not understanding. Why do we have to be like, okay, praise the woman that's dating, you feel me? No. How about if the issue is if y'all saying this is our degrees, the degree women don't want a blue collar man, why aren't you telling men to go get a higher education? There's nothing wrong with our men getting a higher education. Right. It's nothing wrong with y'all switching out the seats. If y'all saying that Black women are getting these degrees and putting themselves in these rooms with these white men, corporate giants, how about you get the degree, you take our spot in these rooms, and then you take over the companies and you go against these men that you see are oppressing us, because it's not up to us to go against them. And if we're evolving spiritually because we have our abilities too, that means maybe now is probably the time it's about time we finna fight. Not in that way, but obviously it's going to be in a different way. If we're educating ourselves, that should be pushing y'all to be like, hey, I want to lead this woman. And if, like Shannon said, if you open and willing to it, when she put you, it's like, that's what happened with me and my guy. He helped me be the woman I am, and I contributed to the man he was. I'm like, hey, you good at technology, why don't you do this? He was like, bro, I thought I was gonna be like my dad in the warehouse my whole life. No, I noticed you good at this. He took my advice, and he's now leading me in ways I didn't understand. So I just don't get why men just blame women.